The room was silent except for the faint hum of the projector and the occasional click of a mechanical keyboard. Madison Blake stood at the head of the sleek, glass-paneled conference room, pointer in one hand, laser dot fixed on a slide labeled Phase 3, Zero Knowledge Security Deployment. "This next quarter is when we go live," she said confidently, glancing around at the executive team. "Our encryption benchmarks outperform anything on the market. We're not just matching competitors, we're outpacing them." A few heads nodded. Her CTO, Marianne, was scribbling notes. Madison's heart thudded, not with nerves but with a strange anticipation. 3 months of testing, late nights. Her name was finally going to be on something hers. That's when her phone, face down on the table, buzzed once, then twice, then again. 5 vibrations in under 10 seconds. She ignored it, until she caught Jonathan's eyes, her closest colleague, subtly raising a brow and nodding toward her phone. "Maddie, you might want to," he mouthed. She turned it over. Her mother's name lit up the screen, followed by a preview of the message. "Lauren doesn't want you at the wedding. Please don't come. Respect her wishes." A second message came before she could process the first. "You've made everything about you. It's her day. This is what she needs." Her breath caught. Then a third message appeared. "They offered to help with expenses, but only if there's no drama. Please understand." Her hand trembled. She hadn't eaten all morning, and now it felt like the oxygen had been vacuumed from the room. "Excuse me," she said softly, turning away from the projector. "Something urgent." She left without explanation, her heels muffled by the carpet as she slipped into the hallway, past the security doors, past the vending machines, into the restroom. Only once she locked herself inside the last stall did she let her fingers move again. She read all 5 messages, then reread them. Then she sank to the floor, her back against cold tile. 3 weeks. 3 weeks before the wedding she had practically built with her own bare hands and bank account. $25,000 for the venue, $12,000 for the catering deposit, $8,700 for the photographer, $30,500 for the custom floral arches Lauren couldn't imagine walking down the aisle without. Countless thousands more in partial payments, wire transfers, and just a little help moments that added up to nearly $100,000. Gone. And now she was being cut, like a vendor that no longer fit the aesthetic. The text messages played like a script in her head. "Lauren doesn't want you at the wedding. They offered to help, but only if there's no drama. Please understand." Lauren, her sister, the same woman who had cried at that first lunch meeting. "I want everything to be perfect. Madison, you've always been the one who takes care of everyone. You're the only reason I can even dream of this." She had said yes then, yes to the venue, yes to the budget that grew like a weed, yes to the family guilt that bloomed in her mother's voice. She had said yes when she should have screamed no, and now the people she thought she was supporting were painting her as the villain. Not just unwanted, unstable. She stood up, slowly, deliberately, her hands shaking but not from sadness, from something sharper. Clarity. She walked to the mirror, splashed cold water on her face, and looked herself in the eye. A single sentence escaped her lips, steady and quiet. "Then they can pay for it themselves." The moment she walked back into the conference room, Jonathan's eyes flicked toward her. So did Cynthia's, the junior dev who'd tried to undercut her in meetings for months. Madison gave nothing away. She finished the presentation like a machine, precise, technical, bulletproof. Not even the CTO's toughest questions could rattle her. But underneath, a storm had started, and it was heading straight for a woman in a white dress who thought power meant control without consequence. That night, Madison sat in her condo surrounded by wedding contracts, organized in color-coded folders and Excel spreadsheets. The paper trail was undeniable. The payments were traceable. The ownership, fully hers. She hadn't been part of the wedding, but she was the wedding. Flipping through the photographer's email thread, she found the clause she remembered. Final payment due 72 hours prior to event. Cancellation refund of 25% available up to 48 hours prior. The venue had similar terms. The florist, too. The leverage she had wasn't emotional anymore. It was legal, structural, factual. They wanted her gone? Fine. But her money was going with her. Before she went to bed, Madison opened her family group chat, typed a single line, "If I'm not welcome at the wedding, then neither is my financial support." She hit send, then turned her phone off. For the first time in years, she slept through the night without checking her messages once. The next morning, Lauren called 3 times before 7 a.m. Voicemail. Then her mother, then her father, all ignored. Madison poured herself coffee, set her laptop on the kitchen table, and began what would become a domino cascade of cancellation calls. Venue first, caterer second, florist third. Each time she spoke clearly, professionally, without emotion. "I'm canceling due to breach of personal agreement. Please refer to Clause 7B. By noon, the group chat had exploded. Accusations, desperation, guilt, threats. "You're being vindictive. You'll ruin your sister's life. We can't afford this." None of them remembered the years she'd gone without vacations, buying secondhand clothes so she could help with their emergencies. The way they'd leaned on her without limit, but labeled her a problem the second she asked for space. She wasn't ruining anything. She was just stepping away and letting them face a reality without her wallet cushioning their chaos. Type 1 if you've ever been left out after giving everything you had. Madison was halfway through her morning coffee when an email from HR landed in her inbox. Subject, follow-up, algorithm attribution discrepancy. Her chest tightened. She clicked it. "We've received a request for review regarding the source code behind the ZKS3 compression module. Please be prepared to walk us through the development history. Cynthia has provided a written statement outlining her contributions." Cynthia, of course. The junior developer Madison had mentored 2 years ago, the one who couldn't write secure architecture without a tutorial, was now trying to claim her breakthrough work as her own. Madison leaned back in her chair, blood boiling in quiet waves. They weren't just stealing her family now. They were coming for her career, and she wasn't going to let that happen twice. She opened a new tab and pulled up the contracts folder labeled, "Wedding. Lauren, do not delete." It was time to cancel everything she'd built. The first call was to the Griffin estate, the exclusive venue she'd paid $25,000 to secure. "Hi, Susan," Madison said, forcing calm into her voice. "It's Madison Blake. We've worked together over the past few months." "Oh, yes. You must be so excited. Only a few days away now." Madison hesitated, then exhaled. "There's been a change. I need to cancel the reservation." A silence followed, thick and heavy. Susan's voice lowered. "Is this family-related?" "Yes." Susan didn't ask for details. She simply replied, "I'll initiate the refund process. As per your contract, we can return 25% of the deposit if canceled 72 hours in advance." "Do it," Madison said. "And please make a note. If Lauren or anyone else contacts you, they'll need to rebook under their own payment." "Understood." Click, one down. Next, the caterer, then the florist, the bartending service, the linen rental company, the photographer, each name on the spreadsheet a reminder of a promise made in good faith and shattered by betrayal. Some were shocked, others had heard already. Word travels fast in wedding circles. The photographer, Jonah, sighed into the phone. "Honestly, good for you. No one should be footing the bill and still be treated like a ghost." "I appreciate that," Madison said. "I just want to get this done cleanly. I'll email the cancellation terms, but listen, Madison, don't let people make you feel crazy for setting boundaries." She didn't realize how much she needed to hear that. Midday, her phone wouldn't stop buzzing, texts from her mother, missed calls from Lauren. Even James, silent until now, sent a one-line email. "Please reconsider. This is spiraling." Spiraling? No. This was alignment. For the first time in years, her actions matched her values. At 2:30 p.m., her office calendar pinged Attribution Review, ZKS3 module. Madison walked into the glass-walled conference room where Cynthia already sat, legs crossed, face too calm. HR manager Leslie greeted them. "We just want to clarify who did what." Cynthia spoke first. "I was paired on the early compression iterations. I believe I contributed core concepts to the optimization. Madison cut in, sliding a folder across the table. I've printed every Git commit from the project. Dated, tagged, every line of functional code on ZKS3, my signature. Cynthia's logins only show up for formatting edits. Silence. Leslie skimmed the papers. Cynthia flushed. I was under the impression I'd contributed more than that, she mumbled. You didn't, Madison said. This isn't about impression, it's about truth. Her voice was calm, but her hand trembled beneath the table, not from fear, but from sheer exhaustion. Why was it always her job to defend what she had built? She walked back to her desk, heart pounding. Jonathan rolled over in his chair, offering a protein bar wordlessly. You okay? He asked. No, she said, unwrapping it. But I'm getting there. That evening, she compiled a formal notice of termination to the remaining wedding vendors. For those with unrefundable deposits, she made peace. The loss was steep, but worth the freedom. The last account she touched was the wedding planning app she had custom-built for Lauren. Guest lists, schedules, seating charts. She opened the dashboard, stared at it for a full minute, then clicked Delete Project. A pop-up appeared. This action is irreversible. Are you sure? She clicked yes, without hesitation. At 9:48 p.m., her doorbell rang. She froze, peered through the peephole. Lauren. Madison didn't move. Another ring, then knocking, then her sister's muffled voice. Madison, open the door. I need to talk to you. She remained silent. Lauren tried again. You're destroying everything. Please stop this. We can fix it. Madison waited until the footsteps faded, then opened her phone, typed a message. You uninvited me. You replaced me. I'm just following orders. Later that night, after brushing her teeth, Madison stared at herself in the mirror. For the first time in weeks, the tightness in her chest was gone. She hadn't lost control. She had taken it back. Type 2 if you've ever had to burn a bridge just to stop being walked on. Madison was halfway through debugging a new module when her Slack notifications blew up. A channel, new blog post from corporate. Shout out to the dev team for ZKS3 launch. Special thanks to Cynthia G. Her fingers froze on the keyboard. She clicked the link. There, on the official company blog, in bold italics, was a paragraph. ZKS3 would not have been possible without the early vision and persistence of team members like Cynthia Grant, whose contributions to data optimization pushed the project forward. No mention of Madison. No recognition of her 14-hour days. No acknowledgement of the prototype she'd built alone before Cynthia even joined the team. She blinked, reread it, and then just laughed. Not the kind of laugh you let out at a funny joke. This was the brittle, splintered kind. The kind you laugh when someone burns your house and leaves a thank you note. After she closed the blog window, her phone buzzed again. Instagram. Lauren Blake Official just posted a new reel. Madison almost didn't look. But curiosity, or maybe masochism, won out. She tapped the notification. Lauren stood beneath a floral arch Madison had once paid for, posing in a satin robe with 6 bridesmaids. Couldn't have done it without my sister. Ashtasar, dream wedding. Blessed, Tosh Power sisters. The caption stabbed more than the photo. Lauren hadn't just erased Madison from the event. She was now co-opting the narrative, painting herself as the mastermind behind a day that Madison had financed, organized, and fought for, and then lost. She dropped the phone on the bed and sat down, fingers digging into her temples. They'd taken everything, the money, the seat at the table, now the credit. And somehow, in both her personal life and professional world, she had become invisible. No more. Later that week, Madison walked into her weekly session with Dr. Chin and didn't even wait for the usual pleasantries. They're stealing my name, she said bluntly, and they're doing it with a smile. Dr. Chin tilted her head. You're talking about your sister? And my co-worker, Madison added. Apparently Betrayal comes with bonus hashtags and company credits now. Dr. Chin gave a small, sad smile. How does that make you feel? Like a ghost, Madison whispered. Like I'm only useful when I'm silent. They sat in silence for a beat. Then Dr. Chin offered gently, What do you want to do about it? Madison looked up. Speak. By Friday, she had drafted an internal memo with documentation, GitHub timestamps, chat logs, project notes. She requested a formal correction on the blog post and scheduled a meeting with the CTO. At home, she began documenting every financial transfer, email thread, and wedding invoice. This time not for Lauren's wedding binder, but for herself, for the truth. She didn't owe them forgiveness, but she owed herself clarity. The next day, she ran into her cousin Rachel at a bookstore downtown. The greeting was hesitant. Rachel had been a bridesmaid, but she leaned in and said, "Madison, I know everything. I just didn't know what to say before." Madison blinked. "Everything?" "I saw how they treated you. The spa day, the bridal brunch. Lauren told people you were too intense to invite." Rachel's eyes darted. "But you were paying for all of it." Madison nodded. "And the new narrative?" Rachel added, lowering her voice. "Lauren said you had a breakdown, that you were unstable. James's mom told people you left the country." Madison blinked slowly. "Unstable. Left the country. Sure." Rachel hesitated, then handed her a USB. "I saved some of the messages from the bridesmaids group chat. I don't want to be part of that kind of silence anymore." That night, Madison opened the folder. Screenshots, voice notes, memes mocking her spreadsheets. Lauren joking, "Madison's just mad she doesn't get to be the star for once." Another voice chimed in, "She's basically the wedding ATM with Wi-Fi." She closed the laptop and stared at the ceiling. It was worse than she'd imagined, and she'd imagined a lot. But somehow the betrayal didn't crush her. It clarified her mission. She wouldn't retaliate with pettiness. She'd respond with precision, truth, proof, and silence that made them sweat. Monday morning, 9 a.m. sharp. Madison sat down across from Marianne, the CTO, sliding a printed report across the desk. Marianne flipped through it slowly, the screenshots, the timestamps, the pull requests. "I'm not asking for an apology," Madison said. "I'm asking for correction and accountability." Marianne looked up. "I'm honestly embarrassed this happened. Leave it with me. I'll fix it." And she did. By that afternoon, the blog post was edited. Madison Blake's leadership in ZKS3 development was instrumental to our success. Her innovation shaped our future. Small win, big shift. That evening, another message from Lauren lit up her phone. "I heard you've been digging up receipts. Seriously? Are you really going to ruin everything over a misunderstanding?" Madison typed slowly. "If you didn't want to be accountable, you shouldn't have used my name while scrubbing me out of the story." No reply. At 2:14 a.m., she received a new email from an unknown address. Subject, Madison Wedding Contribution Dispute. Legal review pending. She sat up in bed, wide awake. They were trying to flip the narrative, again. Except this time, she had documentation, evidence, names, timelines, and the one thing she had never had before: boundaries. Let them come. Type 3 if you've ever had someone rewrite your story with their name on the front cover. Madison had just finished her quarterly performance review when the legal envelope slid under her condo door. Not an email, not a phone call. A physical envelope, hand-delivered, pale cream paper, black ink, the kind of letter that felt like it had weight before you even opened it. She stared at it, coffee still warm in her hands. Sender, Rutherford and Sloan LLP, Estate and Family Litigation Division. Subject line on the enclosed document: request for financial reconciliation, wedding contributions versus damages. They were suing her for emotional and logistical damages due to her unauthorized withdrawal of funding. She dropped the letter on the counter, heart pounding. This wasn't just betrayal, this was war. By 3 p.m., she was on Zoom with her lawyer, Kara Patel. Kara raised an eyebrow as she scanned the PDF. "They're trying to argue you had a verbal contract to fully fund the event. No written agreement, no payment plan, just vibes and guilt." "And hashtags," Madison muttered. "Exactly." Kara leaned in. "It won't hold, but they're banking on intimidation." Madison stared into the screen, jaw tight. "They think I'll fold." "They think you'll fund the silence," Kara replied. "Will you?" Madison's eyes narrowed. Not this time. Not. That evening, her phone lit up again. Lauren, this time, no filter. You don't need to involve lawyers. This is family. Please just stop. Madison typed one word. No. Lauren replied in seconds. Then don't be surprised if this gets uglier. 2 days later, Lauren posted a now-deleted TikTok, tearfully explaining how a family member turned her happiest day into a financial nightmare. Madison's inbox filled with screenshots. Some friends believed her, others weren't sure. But Madison didn't waver. Instead, she posted a calm, clear timeline on her private blog, one she'd built quietly over the past month, time-stamped with receipts, screenshots, and documents. No rage, no name-calling, just evidence. Within 48 hours, the tide turned. Mutual friends messaged her. I had no idea. Aunt Marianne called and cried, and even James, Lauren's soon-to-be ex, sent a neutral but telling message. Sorry it got this far. But what surprised her most was what happened at work. The CTO called Madison in for a closed-door meeting. You handled the Cynthia situation with grace, Marianne said, more than most people would have. And frankly, you've carried this team during a turbulent launch year. Then she smiled. How would you feel about taking over as Director of Product Strategy? For a moment, Madison forgot how to breathe. Wait, seriously? You've earned it. Later, while packing up her desk to move offices, Jonathan stopped by with a sly grin. I hear you're joining the Glass Wall Club. Madison laughed. Apparently. Didn't see that coming. Neither did Cynthia, he added, winking. She quit yesterday. Madison blinked. What? HR investigation wrapped. Blog credit wasn't her first offense. She sat back in her chair, stunned. The old Madison would have felt guilty, responsible, tempted to reach out. But the new Madison, she just breathed in and let it go. That weekend, she met Lauren at a neutral cafe halfway between their cities. Lauren looked different. Plain sweater, no lashes, a nervous tremor in her hands. She didn't start with excuses. I'm divorcing James, she said simply, and I'm sorry for everything. Madison listened, unmoved but open. Lauren continued, I thought money made things stable. I thought your silence meant permission. I was wrong. You were cruel, Madison said, and strategic about it. Lauren nodded. I wanted to belong in his world. I thought if I looked the part, I'd get to stay. Even if it meant making me look crazy? Lauren's eyes filled with tears. I was scared, and I used you to feel safe. That was wrong. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Madison spoke. I'm not interested in revenge, but I am interested in truth. If you want a relationship with me again, it has to be built on that, and nothing less. Lauren nodded. I understand. Weeks passed. Quiet. Peaceful. Madison started dating again, slowly. She met Brian, a fellow software engineer with calm eyes and a grounded laugh. When she told him about the wedding debacle, his response was simple. They're lucky you didn't burn the whole thing down, she smiled. Oh, I thought about it, he grinned. But you didn't. Only because it wouldn't have taught them anything. The final twist came 3 months later. Madison received another letter, this one from James. Inside was a typed note and a certified check for $18,600. Lauren told me the truth. This is my share of what you paid. I'm sorry I let it happen in silence. She stared at the check for a long time, not because of the money, because someone had finally admitted the cost. That night, she poured a glass of wine and opened her journal, the same one she'd taken to the Olympic Peninsula, the week she cut off her family. She flipped to the final page and wrote, From doormat to dignity, not through rage, through refusal, through stillness, through boundaries. Then she closed the journal for good. Type 4 if you believe dignity begins the moment you stop explaining your worth.